Hi, I'm Debbie Harbeck, and I'm a certified life coach working with women in midlife and through the menopause transition. So each week, I'll be sharing the latest information, inspiration, and generate some momentum so you can move forward and feel more in control of your changing midlife body and your life. Let's go. Hey there, and welcome back to the podcast. So today I want to talk about something that I don't think we talk about enough, which is the mental load that we carry and that many women carry. What I'm talking about exactly is the invisible checklist that's constantly running in the back of your mind. You're cooking dinner and thinking, do we have enough milk for tomorrow? You're at work and your brain sort of pipes up and says, did I sign that school form? And maybe right when you're going to bed, which is when things tend to happen, or in the middle of the night in the case of us in midlife and menopause, we suddenly remember, oh, I forgot to book that dentist appointment, right? So we're constantly thinking these things, and this is what mental load is. It's not about the physical tasks that you're doing. It's not about the doing. It's keeping track of what needs to get done. It's anticipating what you're going to do. And it's just remembering all these things. That's mental load. Now, a lot of our mental load has to do with our home life. And men, our partners, many of us, our partners are men. It's not that they're not doing things to help us. They are doing things to help us. They're doing more to help us. They're sharing in the cooking, they're sharing in childcare, paying bills. But the thing is that we as women tend to carry the management of these things. We're the ones who know what needs to happen, when it needs to happen, and how it needs to happen. And there's solid research to back this up. There's actually this 2023 study that I found that was done in Europe that said that when women carry more of this cognitive labor, which means the planning, the organizing, the remembering, it directly increases their work family conflict, while men's well being remains mostly unaffected. And a 2024 study published in the Archives of Women's Mental Health found that women who shoulder more of this invisible management, this cognitive labor, this mental load, whatever we want to call it, they experience higher stress, depression, and burnout. The researchers called it a significant contributor to poor mental well being. So it's not just that we're thinking too much as women, it's that our brains are overloaded. And that has measurable effects on our mental health. You can imagine when we then layer on perimenopause and menopause, the symptoms, the hot flashes, the sleep disruption, the brain fog. When we add on this invisible mental load that we're carrying, it can feel like we're climbing a mountain with a backpack full of bricks. So there's a 2021 review in the journal called Menopause that found that women in the menopausal transition report increased subjective cognitive decline, things like forgetfulness and trouble concentrating that are linked to lower estrogen and changes in brain activity. So when you find yourself forgetting why you walked into a room or struggling to focus, you're not losing your mind. You're living through a real physiological shift that's happening in your brain. And when you combine that with an already overloaded brain, it's a recipe for exhaustion, for being irritable, resentful, for burning out, even. Now that we know this, now that we are trying to manage this mental load, what do we do about it? And the first thing we have to do is become even aware that we're carrying this load because you can't change what you don't see. So, first of all, start by noticing all the things you mentally manage in a week. Who needs what? What's running low? What bills are due? And what emails need replies? So, what I suggest is to take a clean sheet of paper. I do like paper and pen, as you probably know. And once a week, allow yourself to write down all the things you're holding in your brain, all the things you need to manage and make decisions about that probably don't appear on your calendar. Give yourself a good 30 minutes to do this, if not a whole hour, so that once you see all of these things that you're carrying around in your mind, you can ask yourself these questions. Does this have to be done by me? Can this be shared? And maybe, can this be dropped altogether? And keep in mind that this exercise isn't about judging or blaming anyone. We're not trying to blame somebody else for the reason we are taking this on. It's just about creating balance for yourself and sustainability for everyone in your family. And then you can take what you've been holding in your brain, the things that you've decided you are responsible for, and actually put them in your calendar. Even if it's just about scheduling 10 minutes to focus on a particular issue that requires a decision. It's amazing how free your mind will feel once you've accounted for everything you're carrying in your mind. This falls under the planning that I talked about in episode 113, which is about planning for weight loss, but it can be applied to planning pretty much anything. So there's another study, the 2024 maternal mental health study, that actually suggests reducing women's cognitive household labor could improve family well-being overall, not just for women. Because when one person is less mentally taxed, the whole system functions better. And you know this, if you're living in a household with somebody who is constantly stressed or who has anxiety, you know what that's like. If you can help reduce that, everybody in the family feels better. So this is about you, we're talking about here, and you dropping some of that mental load so that you can feel better. Bring it up gently at home. Try saying, "Hey, I've realized I carry a lot of the mental reminders for our household, and it's starting to affect my stress and my sleep. Can we share some of that a little bit more evenly?" And maybe from that list that you created, you can share with them what are the things you believe they could handle so that you don't have to feel responsible for them. Basically, you're not just delegating a task here, you're delegating the remembering of this task. This is the important point. We think that we're just getting our partners or our kids to take on some of the responsibility. The responsibility is not the task itself. That is part of it. The rest of the responsibility is remembering the task, knowing when it has to happen, where it has to happen, how it has to happen. This is the stuff that's taking up space in our brains. So when you delegate not only the activity, but the remembering of the activity and all that goes with it. You know, your brain is one of your most powerful health assets. And when it's constantly filled with to do lists and reminders and emails, there's no space left for creativity and joy and rest. And we know from neuroscience that stress hormones like cortisol interfere with memory and learning. And during menopause, when our estrogen drops, cortisol affects us even more. That's why managing your mental load isn't just about mental health, it's about physical health too. Reducing that load supports your hormones, your sleep, your emotional balance. It literally helps your brain function better. So, letting go of some of this mental load, it's not a selfish thing, it's self preserving and it's good for everyone. Here's my challenge for you, if you will, this week. Maybe schedule these 30 minutes for yourself to offload your mental load onto paper. And from there, take one thing off your list, meaning you don't have to think about it. Maybe you ask your partner to cook dinner on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and you resist the urge to double check, to look over their shoulders, to choose the meal, or to buy the ingredients. You are not involved at all. You give that task over, all of it. And maybe you automate your bill payments, or maybe you simply decide it's okay if the house isn't perfect. Reducing your mental load isn't about doing less for others, it's about doing more for yourself. Because the research, as I mentioned before, it shows when we protect our minds, our bodies follow. We sleep better. Our hormones regulate better. We feel calmer and clearer and more present. And that is how we thrive in midlife and all of life, in fact. So, if this episode has resonated with you, please share it with another woman who is carrying too much. She needs to hear this message and she needs to know that it's okay to put some of those things down. And not only is it just okay, it might be absolutely necessary. And if you're ready to create more calm, more space, more vitality in your midlife experience, I'd love to support you through coaching. Check out the show notes to book a call with me or send me an email. I am available for you. So until next time, thank you for listening, keep moving forward, and bye for now. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Midlife Momentum Podcast. If you want to learn more about working with me, come visit me at debbieharbeckcoaching.com. That's Debbie, I-E, Harbeck with a C, coaching.com. See you next week.